viewers, 48 hours from now, India faces the threat of paying a 25% tariff on its exports to the United States, plus penalties, as US President Donald Trump has announced that India will have to face the consequences for buying oil and military equipment from Russia. Now, what will this translate into remains to be seen. In its first statement after the announcement, the Commerce Ministry has said that it is studying the implications and will take all steps necessary to secure national interests. But the Congress has already come to conclusions. They are calling it catastrophic failure of Modi's foreign policy, hurling tariff for Tariff jabs, highlighting the hugs and handshakes between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Trump.
देश के हित में बिल्कुल ही नहीं है टैरिफ का जो 25% स्लैब हमें लागू किया गया है.
Well, if that's not all, the Congress's cynicism has been addressed by one of their own leaders, the man who takes pride in saying, Bharat ki baat sunata hoon, Manish Tiwari. He has called Trump's decision the biggest tribute to Indian strategic exceptionalism and strategic autonomy. The question now is, have the tariffs deflated Rahul Gandhi's ceasefire under trade threat pitch? Because does Trump's action not show that, if anything, India did not succumb to United States bullying us? And that 30+ utterances of Trump about mediation were nothing but bullying tactics. Has that failed? Well, here is what Rahul Gandhi said.
नहीं, अभी क्या होगा? अभी वो कह रहा है. वो कह क्यों रहा है? क्योंकि वो अपनी ट्रेड डील चाहता है. तो वहां पे दबाएगा इनको. आप देखना कैसी ट्रेड डील बनती है.
You're watching the News Hour at 9, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining the debate, Sanjay Jha, author, Congress leader, Dr. Santosh Mehrotra, senior economist. Of course, Dr. Anand Ranganathan continues to be with us. Tushar Gupta, political analyst, also joins the show. Sanjay Jha, Rahul Gandhi, if he was correct that we had succumbed under Trump's pressure, then the tariff announcement by Trump clearly takes the wind out of his sails. And please read Manish Tiwari, who says this is Indian autonomy started by Nehru, continued by Indira Gandhi, and now safe in the hands of Modi, is just what is displayed by this statement by President Trump. Do you agree?
No, I don't agree with that at all. In fact, there is a different way to look at this announcement. Is this the best that Piyush Goyal and Mr. Modi could get for India? Because all we have been hearing, Navika, is the fact that Piyush Goyal and the entire Indian entourage has been talking about structuring the best possible deal for India. And if Donald Trump has said it not once but many times before, that he is getting a very good deal from India. That's what he said on the Air Force One when he was returning to the US yesterday. I mean, this is frankly speaking a double whammy for India. And I'll tell you why. One, and look at just one data point, Navika, you and I both have studied in the same great institution, so perhaps you will agree with me today. Look at this one data point. India's trade deficit with the United States is $45 billion. If you look at the American overall trade deficit, this is just 5% of the overall exposure that America has in terms of trade deficit. But look how harsh and hard he's come down on our country, which makes a mockery of this government of Mr. Modi buckling under US pressure everywhere, militarily, politically, diplomatically.
But how does it prove that, Sanjay Jha? Because he's been saying for 30 times or 32 times, because the Congress has the exact count, we don't, but 32 times if Trump has said it and still not managed to get a great trade deal as he was expecting, and he has had to put these tariffs, Anand Ranganathan, what does it display? That the Congress has been barking up the wrong tree?
No, but it's a good deal for him because our agriculture exports, and by the way, Navika...
Hold on, Sanjay, I'm short of time. Short of time. Anand Ranganathan, please respond.
Navika, in fact, India has a trade surplus with America, not a deficit. But anyway, enticed by a tariff deal that would benefit Adani, Modi conceded to Trump's ceasefire demand only for Trump to punish India with high tariffs. Oh my God, Modi must resign. No, look, we must not mix jingoism with economics, Navika. Like I always say, please do not mix politics with science, because all you would end up then would be political science. No country likes high tariffs. This should not degenerate into America as an enemy. Look, we must remain an advocate for free trade, for that is the only way of eradicating poverty and making humanity more prosperous and equal. And so I am fundamentally against tariffs and quotas, and everyone should be, because they encourage protectionism and license Raj. Do you want that? They help in the short run, because through protectionism and high tariffs, you create more jobs, more domestic growth and setting up of factories and lower imports. But in the long run, protectionism and high tariffs result in what they've always have resulted in.
There are sectors that will need the government's protection. But the fact is that if anybody thought that Modi was selling out India because Trump was helping him with the ceasefire, then that theory completely got busted today. But Dr. Santosh Mehrotra, where do you think India's options now lie?
I'm sorry to say that the options have now been reduced dramatically, because my suspicion is that what's going to happen, because clearly the Indian government has been sprung a surprise upon, and we were probably negotiating in good faith, and that good faith has been completely belied. So my answer to your question on options is that we will probably delay any agreement, any signing of the agreement, and this is going to mean reduced exports from India and reduced imports from India. It will hurt us, there is no question about it. City Research has estimated that it will cause an annual loss of about $7 billion in the next year. But let's just keep a sense of perspective. India's exports overall as a proportion of our GDP are around 20%. Only 10% of our exports go to the US, so our total exports to them are under 2%, and more than half of that is actually services, and services exports are not going to be impacted by this.
So are we in the safe zone, Tushar Gupta? Apologies, little time, but Tushar Gupta, are we in the safe zone if our services are not impacted, if some segments are not, we are just getting information, for example, electronics, etc., phones, what does it mean for India?
Now, there are 2 points of contention in the India-US trade deal. One, Americans want unrestricted access to India's agricultural and dairy market, and they want to unleash the genetically modified foods on the Indian market. This is where the first point of contention is. Now, for Trump's ego, or for the friendship between Trump and Modi, the farmer economy of this country cannot be decimated, and one hopes that the Congress would understand that beyond the diplomacy, beyond the tariff war, beyond Trump's ego, there lies the farmer's economy, and they need to be protected. You may disagree with how some farmers are, sort of fiscally handled in India, but you cannot disagree that they need to be protected from external factors. Number two, Trump in his Truth Social comment mentioned that we have been importing oil from Russia. Why not? Since 2022, we have been getting discounted Russian oil. Compare the price with Saudi Arabia, for instance. There's a difference of $20 for every single barrel. Now, if Donald Trump is saying that India should embrace double-digit energy inflation, which will be passed on to the households, to the farmers, to the MSMEs, just because of his ego, that won't happen. India won't be dictated to.
Absolutely. India is going to protect its own interests. And while you correct yourself, Sanjay Jha, that India has a trade surplus with the United States, the fact is farmers and our oil imports, those are reasons that trouble Trump. Well, so be it, says India. Will they try and renegotiate? Certainly, in diplomacy as in negotiations, there's always more room for negotiations and conversations. But as of now, clearly the opposition's entire charge against Modi of buckling under pressure from Trump on the issue of ceasefire has just gone kaput, because India hasn't buckled, and India unlikely to buckle on these two issues. oil imports from Russia that are cheaper than the American oil. Number 2, protection of our farmers. We leave it at that because this is going to be the new agenda of politics. Tomorrow we'll keep following this. Thank you very much to my panelists and thank you viewers for joining me on the News Hour tonight. Good night. Be safe.